And we have 6 people who are running for 4 seats. These candidates are elected to a 4-year term at a salary of $9,270 per year. And our candidates this evening are Mike Unger, Jason Stein, T. Nottis, Cheryl Stevens, and Melissa Yasnow. Okay, so I'm not going to review rules, we're just going to get right into it. You each have a minute and a half for your opening statement, and then a minute for your closing statement. You'll also have 1 minute to answer questions. And we'll strictly enforce those. And again, if you've got questions, please write them down, and we'll pick them up and get them up to the front. So I think we're ready to go here, and we're going to start with our first candidate, Michael Unger.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to think that they saved the best for last this evening. I'm Mike Unger. I've been a Cleveland Heights resident for 31 years. My wife, Deborah Warner, and I raised our 2 daughters here. I love this community. It's a wonderful place to live, and we need to keep it that way. Prior to joining council, I served for nearly 2 decades on our planning commission. For the last 16 years, I was selected by my peers unanimously each year to serve as chair. As the newest member of council and as chair of our finance committee, I'm not afraid to shake things up, shake up the status quo, and ask a lot of tough questions, including questions designed to save our citizens money when scrutinizing large city contracts, including questions about the existence of that Arco dump that was just over the border in East Cleveland that threatened our neighbors in the Noble neighborhood, and then working closely and collaboratively with state and county officials to secure a $6 million cleanup fund that's now well underway. We need to implement our very thoughtful and well-developed master plan and economic development plans with particular focus on nurturing strong, safe, vibrant neighborhoods and thriving business districts. A top priority of ours, I believe, should be a continued unwavering focus on our abandoned and vacant housing problem. And of course, as we've all just heard, we need to have a productive working relationship with our schools. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Our next candidate is Jason Stein.
Thank you. My name is Jason Stein. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and Future Heights for hosting this candidates forum. Thank you to each of you for being here, for taking the time from your busy schedules to learn about the candidates and our positions on the issues. For those that don't know me, I was born in Cleveland Heights. I attended Boulevard, Wiley, and I graduated Heights in '95. My career includes over 6 years of service as a city councilman, the last 2 as vice mayor. I have also served on the CHUH Library Board and on a number of CHUH school committees. Cleveland Heights is on the upturn. My council colleagues and I have worked hard to maintain excellent city services while dealing with deep cuts from the state. Due to careful oversight of the budget, Cleveland Heights has a surplus that is growing and getting stronger. New opportunities are on the horizon. Top of the Hill and the Mayfield Triangle offer prime development land. In coordination with the school board, we are discussing the future of the former Coventry School. Currently, the Coventry Arts Vision is being discussed that would include some new housing construction and additional green space. I'm hopeful that whatever the end result is, that it will meet the needs of the community. I will only support a plan that includes the preservation of the Coventry playground and area. Continuing to revitalize neighborhoods is very important. I continue to support funding for the Home Repair Resource Center, conducting systematic exterior home inspections, and other tools to strengthen home ownership and neighborhoods. A new tool that I hope will be added soon is the citywide community reinvestment area. This will give tax abatement to current homeowners to invest and will target those parts of the city that are in most need.
Thank you. Our next candidate is T. Nottis.
Thank you so much for everyone coming out tonight. Thank you for staying so late to listen to us, and thank you to our gracious hosts. My name is T. Nottis. I'm running for City Council here in Cleveland Heights. I have spent the past 13 years in the healthcare industry, currently working as a manager of quality and productivity. And my job consists of me listening to people, analyzing data, and solving problems. Within my community, I've always tried to do the same. Because I listened to the needs of a Roxborough Elementary parent, I was able to coordinate what is now a successful and growing volunteer tutoring program between Greek Life at Case Western and Roxborough Elementary. As a councilman, I look forward to listening to everyone and working with all the individuals within City Hall and in our communities to implement similar great ideas such as a one-stop shop for all community service opportunities in the city, ways to improve the recycling processes like having dedicated recycling bins, and finding more ways to bring rain barrels to our homes to help offset the rising sewer bills. However, none of these great ideas would be possible if council does not continue to collaborate and lead the city government to focus on the core foundation of the city. We need to continue investing in our infrastructure, supporting our safety services, fire, police, and EMS, and ensure that all the fundamental needs of each resident is met. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Cheryl Stevens.
Good evening. I'm Cheryl Stevens. This is the third time I've run for City Council here in Cleveland Heights. I have appreciated your support and continue to want it to go back on council and continue the work I have invested significant pieces of my life in. I focus on finances. I want to make sure that we can stay a stable, healthy community. And as they used to say, follow Benjamins. If you don't have enough money to do all the things that are important to the community, you can't go in the right direction. I focus on community and economic development. That has been the primary activity that I've spent my life on as a career focus. Supporting the growth of our businesses, providing creative ideas, and hoping that we will make sure to continue the arts as one of the major investments in our community. Engaging and working with residents, from small groups to large groups. I try to make myself personally available. I've led out with things like the Economic Development Advisory Committee, which was one of the first initiatives after I became mayor 2 years ago. And I interact and listen to residents from everything from, as I said, neighborhood groups to large groups. If you vote for me, I will continue to invest in our collective future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll hear from Melissa Yasnow.
Thank you very much. My name is Melissa Yasnow. I'm a councilwoman here in the city of Cleveland Heights. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and Future Heights for hosting this event, and to everybody who has spent a lot of time here this evening, and for those who are watching on television. My name is Melissa Yasnow. I'm a fifth-generation Cleveland Heights resident. My great-grandfather, Aaron Yasnow, and his brother, Maury, are on our Cumberland Veterans Memorial Building. So for me, when I think of Cleveland Heights, I think of my family's past as well as its future. I am the chair of the Municipal Services Committee, and I am a member of Finance. I am very proud of the work that I have done on council and on behalf of this community. A few of the accomplishments I'm most proud of are the passage of the strongest human rights ordinance in the state of Ohio, working with my fellow council members towards the passage of Issue 53, which has guaranteed adequate fire and safety services in the city of Cleveland Heights, and focusing on finance, where we have executed an energy contract to save $11.5 million over 20 years. We have a budget stabilization fund, and we are on track for a $1 million budget surplus. My focus over the next 4 years, so should I be re-elected, are financial sustainability, housing, economic development, safety, and infrastructure maintenance. My name is Melissa Yasnow, and I ask for your vote now through November 7th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to jump right into questions. And this first question, I am combining a bunch of questions that have come regarding economic development and specific sites within the city. So I'd like you to hit on all of these points. Top of the hill, one resident is asking that there's a very high priority on the top of the hill. I'd like to hear from someone who shares some of the skepticism of the 200 plus residents already living there. Severance Town Center, how you address the decline and lack of economic development there. And a couple questions regarding the Coventry campus and that development opportunity. And then lastly, there's a question about the CDC, talking about the delay in making Future Heights, Cleveland Heights CDC. So if you can comment on those three sites and also the CDC question. And we're going to start this evening with Mike Unger.
So I'm going to take the last one. I'm going to take.
How long do I have to cover?
I'm sorry, you have a minute. I know, it's a lot.
That's impossible. All right, I'm going to talk very, very quickly. On the CDC, I want us to be a partner with the CDC. I want it to happen. Those that know me have heard me say this multiple times. I want it to happen like yesterday. I believe that it is fairly clear that it's going to be Future Heights. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and I'm looking forward to that. High priority to get things done. Couldn't agree more with the questioner, especially when it comes to top of the hill. Those that followed that process know how important it was, not just to me, but to all members of council who are up here with me, what we call the certainty of execution. We needed to make sure that we have a partner, which I believe we have in Flaherty and Collins, that has the financial capacity and the wherewithal and the knowledge to get a wow project done at the top of the hill. Severance is a thornier issue. I know it's on a lot of people's minds. We partnered recently through, where's Tanisha Briley? Through Tanisha Briley, our city manager. We got a grant. We had a wonderful company called National Resource Network come in. I mean, someone else will finish that for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jason Stein, you're next.
Well, going after Mike's tough to do on these subjects because everything he said I agree with. Top of the hill, obviously, where we left off, very high priority. As right now we're continuing to negotiate, we don't have specific plans. We're waiting for those. That's something that the city administration is working out. But yeah, I'd like to have them shoveling around already. It's something that would have already taken off. The severance owners are out-of-state owners, unfortunately. And they're not so familiar with our neighborhood. We continue to try to reach out to them, and that's through the city administration, through our planning department, through our economic development department. We want to work with them. We have made it very clear we want to work with them, and we will continue to voice that and communicate with them. We want to work with them to develop severance and bring to revitalize it. Coventry, I already spoke about that in my opening remarks. I definitely, no matter what happens with Coventry, the playground is absolutely going to stay. As far as I'm concerned, I believe the rest of the council feels that way.
Thank you. T-Natus.
All right, so top of the hill. I love the idea. I'd love to see development. The most important thing I see here is community engagement. I'd love to see something more beyond just having town halls at the milestones. I'd actually like to see a committee formed where the community in the surrounding area and within the city is engaged in having a conversation side by side with the city. Coventry. I almost cried when the Coventry Peace Campus group presented at council. It was amazing. It was fully representative of what is Cleveland Heights, what does an engaged population look like. And when it comes to lead, follow, and get out of the way, council needs to get out of the way, do everything they can to remove roadblocks to make this happen. In regards to severance, there's a lot of conversations, but really I think that we need to commit to one vision, do everything that we can to just focus on that vision. Enough conversation, enough analysis paralysis, let's do something. Doing something I think here is better than doing nothing. And regarding Future Heights, I know that conversation is in process to create that CDC. Looking forward to it.
This is a tough one. Cheryl Stevens.
Thank you. Basically, we need to get top of the hill done. I would encourage staff to figure out what the final issues are and close the deal. On Severance Town Center, I continue to believe that we need to push this new owner either to become a positive, proactive owner or sell it to somebody else so something can be done with it. Because just managing an existing mall that's predominantly vacant is not good for this community. On Coventry Peace, it was an excellent proposal. Housing and maintaining the arts facility is important to this community because we are home of the arts, and doing new housing construction provides us with income for both the school system and the city. And finally, for Community Development Corporation, it should have been done 6 months to a year ago. I'm done.
And Melissa Yasno.
Okay. 1, top of the hill, let's get it done. City owns the land. Number 2, Severance Town Center. The city doesn't own it. It is owned by a foreign entity called Namdar. It sounds like an evil transformer. They have acted like it. 3, Coventry. Love the green space. Very happy with community outreach. I look forward to working with the school board to see what we can get done on it. I'm the councilwoman who lives the closest to it, 2 blocks away. I want to guarantee that when I have kids, they can come to that park there. And I'm very intrigued on what we can do to keep the arts here in Cleveland Heights. 4, CDC. I look forward to the working group, and I'm going to throw another one here just for added measure. Noble Triangle. We as the city own the land. Let's see what we can get done. Bring that development to the north side of town. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to take a breath and I'll begin as well. This question is about demolitions and foreclosures. What steps would you take to eliminate or decrease the number of foreclosures and vacant properties in Cleveland Heights? And secondly, can you discuss the role of federal funds, how Cleveland Heights gets funds to tear down houses rather than repair them? So this is, we're going to start with Jason Stein this time.
Thank you. As far as how we reduce demolition, our demolitions are being reduced based on that only. Last few years we've been very aggressive taking nuisance properties off the market and demolishing them with using county, state, and federal funds to do that. This has been effective in stabilizing streets that had begun to have a downward spiral and that had started to feel the pressure of crime coming into their neighborhood as well. So this has been a first step in going there. As far as a CRA, community investment area, I also mentioned that is something that I believe very strongly in. That will help to stabilize the areas of our community that are most in need. This is a tax abatement for current homeowners. Oh, I'm sorry. The tax abatement for current homeowners, so you can go ahead and improve and invest in your home, and it's only tax abated for the improved value of the home. So if you add on a first floor addition bedroom and...
All right, thank you. Our next candidate, T. Nodis.
All right, so demolitions and foreclosures, what steps can we take? I think that one of the big things that we have to do within the city is to hold the banks accountable. I know people have talked about foreclosure bonds in the past. I'd love to see those actually being implemented. Making sure that the banks know that they can't just foreclose and leave a house there and let it rot, but to actually make sure that somebody is making sure that the property does not continue to deteriorate, which would actually stop the decreasing trend of house values. In terms of where to get funds, I'll be honest, I think the best thing that we need to do is continue to partner with the city development block grant funded organizations, such as Home Repair Resource Center, make sure that we as council are supporting them in the work that they're doing with the community on just everything from painting to teaching people how to fix their houses to everything across the board. This is the best thing that we can do to help stop it.
And next we'll hear from Cheryl Stevens.
So demolition should only be done selectively. We've gotten rid of most of the significantly problem properties in the community, so we have a few left to do, and we'll move with those. One of the most important initiatives has been working with the city manager to create a community reinvestment citywide initiative. She and I talked about that 4 years ago. The state prohibited us from doing some things, but now that we've got the ball rolling again with the state with changes in staff in Columbus, this is a way for us to invest in our homes, increase values, especially at the north end of town, and begin to see the ripple effect on our values. Most importantly, we need to pursue finding alternative funds for rehab. That can be done by pursuing partnerships with foundations and the federal government. Thank you.
And next we'll hear from Melissa Yasnow.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to reiterate what several of my other colleagues have mentioned, which would be the creation of a citywide community reinvestment area. This would encourage homeowners to invest in their homes and enjoy a tax abatement on a tiered level, depending on where you live in the city, so that the more distressed areas will see greater incentive for investment, for new construction, or to add on or improve value to a property. Additionally, I believe strongly in our housing director, Alan Butler. I believe he's done wonderful things to improve housing, the inspection process here in Cleveland Heights. He went to our court system, said, train our guys so that we can speed up the nuisance process. We need to make sure that we stop the problem before it starts. One other thing that I'm really proud of is that now landlords in Cleveland Heights cannot get a rental permit if they are behind for taxes or for nuisance violations. So I believe that these are very good ways to stop the foreclosure process before it starts.
And last we'll hear from Mike Ungar.
Thank you. I think that vacant and abandoned properties and properties where taxes are delinquent represent the #1 threat to our community. I think that it can and will become contagious if not addressed straight up right now. I think it's important that we as council prioritize, and it should be one of the first things on every single agenda for every single council meeting. I think it's one of the first steps in reversing declining property values throughout our community. My colleagues have done a great job in illustrating some of the tools that we absolutely need to have in our toolbox in fighting this problem. Everything from CRAs to tax abatements, foreclosure bonds, vigorous property inspections, and where appropriate, demolition of nuisance properties.
Okay. Now I've got a couple of questions for some specific candidates. And we'll start with T. Nadas. Can you talk about your adult entertainment business as shown on Facebook, and how do you square owning that business with the values of Cleveland Heights?
Sorry, what was the second half of that?
How do you square owning that business with the values of Cleveland Heights?
Okay, so I did address this on my Facebook and my website, and I'm happy to talk about it again. I was involved in a software startup back in 2013 with some friends of mine, specifically focused on the concert venue industry. As we were developing software and trying to figure out how we can break into the market, ideally what we were trying to do is show who was in the lineup, what songs did they play, that sort of thing. We found that there may have been some interest in the exotic dance industry, so we opened ourselves. We were not in the business of discrimination, we were in the business of seeing if we developed software that can make money. As it turns out, it really couldn't. And we more or less sunsetted what we were trying to do until about 6 or 7 months ago, when the owner of the Agora reached out to us. He loved the software that we put together, and I'm looking forward to helping develop it some more and turn it into something viable for more concert clubs across the region and the country.
Our next question is for Cheryl Stevens. If your voicemail is full, how do Cleveland Heights residents reach you?
Well, if my voicemail is filled, it means that a lot of Cleveland Heights residents have reached me, and I have to get back to it. But remember, you only hire city council part-time, and so I have a full-time job that's a big job during the day. So often I don't get to answer my voicemails or emails until the evening and late at night. Today my voicemail is clear, but sometimes it doesn't. One of the things I did was to change it to one of those readable voicemails so that I can read it while I am doing other things. That happens to people. Your voicemail gets full.
Our next question is for Melissa Yasnow. Statistics show violent crime is decreased in Cleveland Heights, but local media makes our neighborhoods sound like Fallujah. How would you counter this negative perception?
Well, the way you deal with wrong news or fake news is put the real news out there. Cleveland Heights is a wonderful place to live. It is a safe place to live. One thing that I try to do is when I get news that is I have a question on, I go and I ask the police chief, for example, and she then goes on Nextdoor right away and posts what's happening. I think that people understand that we live in a safe community. Sometimes there might be an incident or a scary noise, and knowing that our police chief is watching this and responding, I think makes people feel, understand the situation and feel safe here. And what I try to do is be a cheerleader. If there is news that shows that we're doing something right here in the city of Cleveland Heights, I'm going to promote that as well. So I think the way that you deal with bad press, wrong press, is to set the story straight and to get the good news out.
Thank you. Our next question is for Jason Stein. Will you follow the lead of Forest Hills Presbyterian and Councilman Sarin and act to protect immigrants in our community?
Well, I'm not quite sure exactly how we follow the lead of Forest Hills Presbyterian, because they are a sanctuary church, which is wonderful and definitely supportive. I believe everyone at council is supportive of that, at least most of us. But as far as the sanctuary city discussion that we had earlier this year, we decided to become a welcoming city. So that is something we've already declared ourselves to be a welcoming city. We want immigrants here. We respect diversity in Cleveland Heights. We want everyone that is law-abiding, that wants the American dream. Come to Cleveland Heights. You're welcome here. We love you. We want you here.
Thank you. And this last question is for Mike Unger. Since almost all of the public schools budget is based on property taxes, and since that budget has been diminished by lower property values, What is your position on giving property tax credits to encourage building at Top of the Hill, a supposedly hot location?
Say the last part again. Yeah, as a what?
What is your position on giving property tax credits to encourage building at Top of the Hill, a supposedly hot location?
Yeah, it is a supposedly hot location, and the answer is we'll see. I want to hear from our professional staff what the financing package is going to look like. As Cheryl mentioned a few moments ago, we're in the process of putting that together. Again, jumping back, we've got a certainty of execution. There is some discussion about tax increment financing. There is some discussion about other potential avenues of financing. I can tell you this, on any major abatement process, whether it's CRAs, whether it's tax abatement for that project, or anything else that's major, my plan is that we will reach out and work with the most important stakeholders to ensure that they are on board, and that is obviously the schools. But there's a whole lot of good that comes out of bringing a project like that to fruition at Top of the Hill, including but not limited to bringing in a whole bunch of new residents into Cleveland Heights who obviously enhance their tax base. Ditto businesses in the surrounding area. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you. And now in the interest of time, unfortunately, we're going to move on to closing statements, and you've each got a minute for your closing statement, and we're going to start with Melissa Yazanow.
Thank you very much. My name is Melissa Yazanow. I'm a councilwoman here in the city of Cleveland Heights. It has been a privilege and an honor to serve you for the past 4 years. I hope that I will have that privilege and honor to serve you again. One thing that I firmly believe in is you can't fake showing up. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, send me an email, give me a call, or I'll see you at any number of community events, be they here at the community center, be it our Meet Your Police Nights, at the Police Academy, be it Noble Neighbors, whatever it is, come and give me a call. I'm happy to talk. I look forward to speaking with you. I look forward to serving you. My name is Melissa Yazanow. I'm asking for your vote and for your support tonight and now through November 7th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll hear from Cheryl Stevens.
Thank you. The first year I served as a city council person. Thank you. The first year I served as a city council person, I learned something. This community cares about its schools. And so I take my leadership clues from you. Well, I was one of the first members of council to support a series of leadership issues on raising funding for the school board, figuring out what the right ways to spend the money on the schools were, and I'm so proud of our new high school. I think it reflects positively on this community. I am committed to community and economic development so we can reduce the ways we have to find to raise taxes. If we do more development, we can generate income for ourselves. I'm concerned about the quality of life of our families, and I focus on how we can figure out ways to do things at the north end of town, on Noble and Caledonia, so that we can make those pieces of our community stronger again. And last but not least, your vote is the most important vote. I've been endorsed by a wide range of people outside of this community, from our Congresswoman to the Mayor and Shaker, and I thank you for your vote.
Next, we'll hear from Tina Otis.
I appreciate you all coming out tonight. I appreciate you letting me introduce me to you. I'd like to introduce you to another thing, the sound that you're going to be hearing a lot from me when I'm listening to a bunch of engaged citizens. That sound is silence. That sound is me listening to your ideas and your issues, figuring out what goals we can set that we can work together on. And as we work together to accomplish all these goals, I want to make sure that we never lose sight of the fact that Cleveland Heights is not just another cookie-cutter suburb. We are a community made up of diverse individuals. We do not simply exist in our homes, ignorant of what is happening around us, but we work together within our unique neighborhoods, across 11 business districts, through religious and community organizations to continue to make our city remarkable. Again, my name is T. Nadas. I am asking for your vote on November 7th so that I can listen to you, collaborate with all the members of council, and work together to make our city stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll next hear from Jason Stein.
Thank you again to each of you that were here tonight. It's been a long night. Thank you for staying till the end. Cleveland Heights needs leadership that will continue to manage and improve the health of our city finances. I hope to continue to look for additional tools to assist our residents in investing in and improving their homes and neighborhoods. I hope to continue to look for opportunities to attract new businesses and revitalize our commercial districts that need hope to continue to work with our schools and nonprofits to make Cleveland Heights even better. Cleveland Heights is on the upturn, and I hope to continue to help directing the city to a better tomorrow. I am a lifelong Cleveland Heightser. I'm a Heights graduate. I love the city. My name is Jason Stein, and I ask you to vote.
Thank you. Next we'll hear from Mike Unger.
Thanks again for the opportunity this evening. If I'm fortunate enough to retain my seat, I can promise you this. I'm known as a hard worker. If I take something on and give it my all, I will continue to do so. In performing my work on council, as those that have observed what we do have seen, I apply one filter and one filter only to what I do. What is in the best interest of the citizens of Cleveland Heights? I believe I've made a difference on council, and I will continue to strive to do so. Like Mayor Stevens, I'm honored to have been endorsed by, among many others, including the Mayor of Shaker Heights, Cleveland Heights Dems, Cuyahoga County Democratic Party, Cuyahoga Democratic Women's Caucus, Northeast Ohio Young Black Democrats, Cuyahoga County Young Democrats, the UAW Northeast Ohio, and the North Shore AFL-CIO, and a number of others that I don't have time to recount. I hope that you will allow me the privilege of continuing to serve on this wonderful council, and thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, candidates, all of you, for being here tonight. Our 2017 Candidates Night. I want to thank all of the volunteers who made this evening possible, and thank you all for attending and becoming more informed about our local elections. Don't forget to vote on November 7th, on or before. Thank you.